Your inbox isn't really an inbox. It's a to-do list created by other people, because for every single opportunity that lands in your inbox, you end up having to archive 10 newsletters, which slowly causes your focus to disappear. Together, we're going to build an AI classifier on N8N, which will read every incoming email, understand its context, and automatically separate the noise from the signal. Okay, let's get started. Alright, firstly we'll be sending ourselves the email that we will be testing on. The subject is new role, senior backend developer. We've opened a new backend developer position. I'd love your help with sourcing. And attached below is the job description. Okay, let's look at the attachment first. Here's the attachment. It has the overview, key responsibilities, required skills. Okay, let's send it over. Let's make sure that we've received it. And there we go. Okay, now that we've made sure that the email got sent to us, let's start the workflow with a Gmail trigger node. Alright, first of all, we need to check the credential. Okay, we're using this one right here. Perfect. For the poll times, we would usually like to have it as every minute. And a very important tip here is to remove the simplify button. Turn it off, we don't need that. Okay, make sure that it's our email. Yep, here we go. Alright, we need to then pin this node right here. Okay, next we will be using a set node, and this set node is gonna help us with an interesting function with the attachment. It's going to be a counter function in JavaScript. We will be adding the Gmail node where it's going to download the attachment. We use the get a message one. Make sure we're using the right credential right here. Resource message, yep. And we need to make sure that the operation is get. It's asking us for the message ID. Make sure you're not confusing the thread ID and the message ID. And remove the simplify. Attachment prefix has to be attachment underscore and then download attachment. Now we'll start understanding why we use the counter node right before this one. And because whenever we download files on N8N, it downloads as attachment underscore 0, and it keeps saving attachment underscore 0, underscore 1, underscore 2, and so on. So every time we run the workflow, the counter counts up 1, keep counting up as well. So we make sure that we never use the wrong attachment with the wrong email, and it keeps everything flowing correct. Now we need to now extract the words from our PDF. We can use base 64, but for this tutorial we're just gonna run it with PDF. We're gonna use the operation extract from PDF, correct. And now we need to change this to an expression to attachment underscore and then the count to make sure we're always getting the right attachment. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, perfect. That's all. Yeah. Okay, let's execute the step. Make sure we got everything. Let's check the text back. Yeah, job description. Perfect. That's exactly the PDF. It extracted it in text. We've got it working. Let's pin it as well. Now, make sure that you pin everything back to back so you don't really. Alright, on error, make sure you use the continue. You can use the continue using error output, but I usually use continue right away because it's not really an error. Just in case if there is no attachment, you want the workflow to keep going anyways. We've extracted everything. We've pinned all our nodes down. We can start up and get another edit fields, or get a set node that gets that extracts the subject, the email body, the attachment, text, everything. Let's start with that. We can start off with our attachment. Perfect. There we go. Then we can do the. Oh yeah, we can use the thread ID just in case we wanna have a respond later or add another function later. And then we wanna do the subject and the body. The subject and the body will pull from the Gmail trigger. They're usually at the bottom. Yep, there we go. Get the text. Don't want the HTML version. That's the body. Perfect. And then we want to get the subject as well. Something interesting here. It usually says subject for some reason. So keep that in mind. Let's order them up. There we go. That looks better to me. Thread ID, subject, body, and then the attachment at the end. Okay, perfect. Let's execute this step as well. Perfect. Look at that. Now we have a very clean edit fields that has everything we need. No fluff. Okay. Email info. There we go. Alright, the next thing we need is our text classifier. That's the brains of the system. That's basically what we're gonna feed the info of the email, and then it's gonna make the decisions for us on which category would the email go to. Okay, subject. You drag and drop from here. It's very simple. Oh, look at again. It says subject. Okay, we can just yeah. That would help. All right. We also need the email subject. Basically, this text to classify is what we're feeding to the AI model. It's gonna take that text, it's gonna read it, and then look at the categories we've added, and then it's gonna try to fit the text to the right category using the LLM model. Okay. The email body is done. The attachment subject was already done at the top. That's all you really need to feed it. You don't need to give it the thread ID or anything like that. Okay, now the categories. For this tutorial, you can have any categories you want. Let's add the LLM first. Actually, we need to allow the enable autofixing because sometimes it turns stuff into HTML. Things get really messy. Okay, let's use this. 4.1 mini works just fine. We don't need to really change it. The 4.0 model I think is overkill. 4.1 mini works fine. Yeah, let's add the categories right. For this video, we'll probably only do for like the candidate, client, meeting, and noise. You need to have the categories set in your Gmail account first. Noise, spam, meeting requests, or reschedule. We need to also add rescheduling. There we go. All right. And then we want to do the client and candidate, and then the candidate is the employer. For this example, we would like for it to categorize this current email to be a candidate because they have a PDF with a job description, they're asking for help with sourcing, so it's obviously a candidate in this scenario. Okay. We need to now feed the description to each category, just for the AI to make the right calls. You can honestly let the AI write you the prompts for this. It doesn't fit any operational workflow, should not trigger any business logic, just pure spam. For meeting requests, you want to have things that show date and time. For employee, you want them to be seeking employment. You want to be considered in roles. And then for the candidate, you want them to represent a business. They're asking for sourcing and so on. All these things you can just get from the LLM. You don't have to write them yourselves. The more descriptive, obviously, the better for the AI to understand and to categorize better. And that's it. We've got the 4 categories ready. We have their descriptions. We have the text to classify. We've added the LLM model. Everything's perfect to execute. And let's see where it would take us. Hopefully to the candidate. And perfect. You see the one item right above candidate right here. If you go in, you will also see that it has outputted, it has outputted all the stuff from the email info straight into the candidate. Now, the next part is for it to actually execute that also on Gmail, because nothing really happens except if you've allowed to add a label to a message, and that's where the thread ID comes in. That's why we've passed it through the email info, because we will take that thread ID and then put it in the right category, or give it the right label. All right, perfect. We need to just make sure we're on the right credential first. Here's the thread ID, whatever. Yep, here's a credential. Okay. The label names or IDs do come straight from your Gmail. So if nothing shows up here, you need to go into your Gmail, make your labels ready first, and then come here and then add them again. This is our noise and spam. Yep. Okay, we want to title that. We don't want to leave it like that. We can just copy paste at this point. Like, it's the same thread ID. You're just changing the label name here. It's basically the whole workflow. It takes the info, creates a counter for us to cleanly get the right attachment on the right email, pass it through the text to classify. The LLM model reads the text, it sees the categories we have set, matches it as best as it can with the descriptions that we've given it. It then sends it to the Gmail, adds the label to the thread, And that's it. That's basically all it does. Let's execute the workflow and then make sure it actually checks out. Okay, perfect. Workflow executed successfully. If we go here, okay, here's our email. Let's go and look in candidate, and here it is. Works. And that's it for the tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day.